So I think I know everybody here. Amelie a little bit, Olena new, but maybe just a couple of words about myself. I'm one of the co-founders of Impact Hub Zurich. We joined the network in 2009, 2010. We were just increasing our space from 500 now to 2,200 square meters, so very similar to Yamali. And we have 550 members here in Zurich. And what we feel we've been doing for quite a long time is selling. We have a global membership and you can travel and connect. But my feeling has been that although makers have profited a lot from the international network, learned from each other, this has not really been the case for members. And we have to do something in order to really, really get this going. So that's the reason why Matthias and I actually decided to join Global for this project at first back in May, shortly before the gathering in Cluj, to start really developing the global membership. So what kind of alignment does it take? What kind of further development does it take to really become one membership? Maybe a quick question. Is it too loud where I am? Is it okay-ish? It's okay? Okay,
Yeah,
good. Yeah, because
it's okay, Niels. It's good.
I'm in a cafeteria, so I hope I can you can hear me, sir. Cool. Um, so what have we been doing? Just a very brief summary. Started the project back in late May, then in Cluj. We got together and we decided that the best way to implement this was start with a small group of pilot hubs, of which there were 5 finally, and we put a call forward for so-called co-pilots, which a lot of you are joining now as those co. The important thing of the pilot was that they said, okay, we can commit one person for 1 day a week till the end of the year to really create this in co-creation with the project team, and the co-pilot said, like, we're really interested in it, we'd like to join it, but we cannot commit the same type of resources as the others. So we would like to join after the co-creation has taken part. So over the summer months here, we have been really developing the content of the pilot project. So this has been working July, August, September, and back in September we launched. And I'm not going to all of the details. You probably have read it, but just to summarize, what we said, the way we're going to launch this is in 2 to 3 different phases. The first phase is going to be a what we call the base of the membership experience, and it's the low tech part of the global membership. So this has been the aligned product offering, the product narrative around what is the membership experience. Then it is around the offline experience, so the events, the onboarding, those kind of things. And fourth, it's the passport. So what kind of traveling do we allow our members? This phase we did with our pilots starting September 21st, more or less, and now you guys are joining about a month later. The second phase that will come sort of mid-November, we will add what we call a member engagement tool. So this is an advanced CRM tool that will allow us to host our members better. We probably all know the experience, those members that are in the space a lot that we see, we can manually host them because we know them, we spend time with them. But especially in order to create value for the members that are not co-workers, is really difficult to have the right data, to know what they want, what they're interested in. And so we will be developing an engagement tool to actually better host our members. So that's going to happen in phase 2. Then there is the phase 3, which has 2 parts to it. So one is what we call the directory. So this is the search part for members. So probably a lot of your members, they come to you and like, I'm looking for a designer, or do you know somebody working on clean tech? I'd like to connect to them. And you manually go through your file in your head, or you might ask somebody else in the team. Well, we say if we really are able to create a very good database that members can then use to search themselves, we create tremendous value. So that's going to be the directory, the search part of it. And connected to that is what we call the collaboration platform. So this is a replacement of HubNet, because you all know that HubNet will be disconnected. The current provider, National Field, the contract was supposed to end by January 1st. This is the first bit of news. We just got the word that it has been extended. So we can use HubNet for 1 year more. It's not the idea that we will keep on using the current version of HubNet till the end of 2016. We will switch somewhere during 2016, but this gives us a little bit more time to really find the right platform. And there's a team around Pablo Gavilan working on finding the right new tool for this, and we are working closely with them because, as you know, a big part of the membership experience for those members who do not co-work is through virtual tools, and a HubNet replacement will be a very important driver there. Yeah, so that's a little bit of background on the project, and what we have been doing around implementing is, so for those components that I've just been speaking to, one of the pilot hubs has been in the lead to develop it. So we've had the pilot hubs are Sao Paulo, Vienna, Zurich, King's Cross, London, and Prague, and for all of these different components, we have started to develop a master implementation sheet that you've all seen, that we've shared. And that sheet is basically a to-do list of what you guys have to do in order to implement this locally. And connected to that are various resources. So for example, one of the things is that as part of it is that you change the product structure. I'll say something about that in a second. And so in the toolbox, you then find an outline on how you could portray this on your website, for example. You will still have to do some local adaptations, so it's not just copy pasting, but there is a lot of base material that you can use. And this was also one of the to-dos that we asked you to really try to look through it a little bit, because this makes it easier to ask questions right now. But but we can also do that in a later phase if not everybody had time for it. Now, if you ask me what is the most important thing of this phase one of the global membership, and I think it is the change that right now, or in most Impact Hubs, we speak to our members and we say, you're an Impact Hub Zurich member or you're an Impact Hub Stockholm member. What we want to create is that people are an Impact Hub member. So we want to create an alignment, an affiliation, a sense of belonging between a member and Impact Hub as a brand, as a movement, what we stand for, what we try to change in the world. And your home base is then, Zurich or King's Cross or wherever. But wherever you go, you don't have 550 members. No, you have 12,000 members. In your home hub, there might be a couple of hundred. But the main change is just this logic. And if we all manage to change our communication, the way we speak to our members, and try and keep calling them like Impact Hub members, that will really make a massive change in the long run. This takes a while for your members, but this is a really main thing. The second thing is the way we think about membership. So where most hubs came from, the original model was that you would have vertical membership packages that people could buy. The first thing was the Connect member that often did not have any space, but that allowed access to the network. The second thing was then maybe the 25 for 1 day a week, the 50, etc. And what was noticed was that some people would say, yeah, I'm a Connect member, and others would say, I'm a 50, I'm a co-worker. And what is actually not clear and not visible is that everybody is an Impact Hub member. Some of them decide to also take a co-working package on top, or maybe at some point even decide to take like a learning package on top or so. But the base thing is the Impact Hub membership, in which you get as a member a certain value, and then on top you can decide as a member to buy something. So it becomes a lot more a modular kind of system. And Annalena, you're unmuting again. It's very loud for me.
Yes, sorry. I wanted to keep it on mute, but I have some technical issues. So this is why. If I unmute myself, please mute me. Sorry.
Okay, it would be great if you could mute yourself now, and we'll check in with you in a little bit. Thank you.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So yeah. So this is the main thing. I think it is this membership structure, and what this allows, if you think about it, when you look at the graph, it becomes clearer. But people take a membership to the Impact Hub. They legally have it in their home hub where they spend most of their time. But then on top, they can buy modules wherever they want. So they can say, okay, I spend most of my time in Zurich, so that's why I might take a co-working membership. But Impact at Prague, they offer this fantastic e-learning webinar, so I might buy this module there. Or Stockholm has this great conference or accelerator program that I would like to attend, so I might buy that one on top. So this creating one membership as the basis and the modular packages on top is sort of allowing us in the future to really create different kinds of memberships on top. There are a lot more details in there. We're not going through them. I think it's really important that you take your time to do that yourself. Maybe just a couple of words on point 3 in the agenda, the implementation guidelines of what we recommend. We've had the experience now with the pilot hubs of implementing it, and what we realize is that it's really important to try to implement everything in a sprint mode. So if you try to really take time, have a blocker, and go for it and try to implement it. If you do a little bit, half an hour here, 50 minutes there, or so, it's really difficult to finish everything, and it starts dragging along. So we'd really recommend you to try to make sure that by the end of the week you have all of the to-dos in this master docs actually implemented and finished. The way to go about it is that you just to start from the top. You read the to-dos, you go through the through the items in the toolbox, and you try to implement it. If you have any questions, things are unclear, try to use the Slack channels that we've set up. We've used this for the pilots, and it's been a tremendous resource. It has saved our inbox hundreds of emails, literally, and I think we all like not having many emails. So please use it. And the beauty of Slack is as well that that other people can also listen in. So if Munich has a question around how to deal with events, this might also be relevant for Alina in Stockholm, right? So this is what Slack actually does. It allows information to be shared in a more efficient way. That was sort of something on the implementation guidelines. Steph, would you like to add something to that about how they can best start and go about it?
Yeah, I just wanted to just reiterate the first point that you made, Niels, about taking the time to go through the master tool sheet. It's a big list, and it will take some time just to get your head around it. So please make sure that you clear a couple of hours as soon as possible today or early tomorrow to just make your way through that list, and to sort of figure out what the implementation means for you in your hub. Because it will look a little bit different depending on what stage you're at and how you wish to do the implementation on your side. I've just sent around in the chat, on the Zoom chat at the moment, I've just sent a link to the master to-do sheet. Niels, do you want me to go into a little bit more detail on that to move into item number 4?
Yeah, let's go into a little bit more detail. Maybe, unless people have questions about the general idea behind the pilot or the general structure, because we would like to go one detailed level lower now. Unless if you have any questions, then this is a good moment to jump in.
I have just one question.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I would like to know, do you have any idea when it is implemented on a level that I can really sell it? Like maybe I can attract more members as soon as we have this implemented. And do you have any idea on the planning of when the situation is ready enough to sell it? You understand?
Yeah. So I think this is really important. There are two parts to it, to the membership experience. So the first thing is that we improve the local membership experience through these components. So we think that we've sourced the best practices around events. We've sourced the best onboarding from the network. We think this product structure that we have is much more user-friendly. So I think from day one, when you implement it, you create more value for the members that you actually have. And the story that you can already tell right now is, hey, look, we have 15 to 20 hubs that you can now really connect to. I would not wait till everything is ready. Somewhere in 2016, all hubs will come on board. But I think it will take till the end of 2016 till we have everybody on board, and it would be a waste to wait that long.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Any other questions right now around sort of general implementation timeline? Detailed questions can be done later.
Yeah, can you? I missed the first 50 minutes. Sorry about that. Around the sharing of co-working hours, did you already go through that? Then
No, we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. No more questions, I see. Steph, could you take them a little bit more detailed
Yeah.
through the list?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I just sent a link around to the master to do in the chat. So if you could click on there, and we can go through and have a more detailed look at the to do master sheet. So the important thing is first about just the time, taking the time to go through this. I can't sort of reiterate that enough. And just to get yourself familiar with the structure of the master to-do list. So there are two tabs. The first tab, the master to-do list tab, is essentially sort of it's a detailed to-do list. It's a list of actions, and it can be filtered according to the different components which Niels has talked about, or you can just start from the top and work your way through it. Some of the tasks in there are repetitive, so they're to do with communicating things to the team, communicating things to your membership around each of the individual components. And on the second tab, of that spreadsheet, there is a list of all of the items that we are giving you for your implementation toolbox. And both tabs cross-reference each other. So, for example, if you go to the very first item in the master to-do list, which talks about capturing a common data set as part of the new onboarding process, if you scroll across, you will see there's a column that says Toolbox Resource, and then we tell you everything that you need to look at and able to be able to implement that task. So it refers you to best practice guidelines, it refers you to outlines of a new onboarding session, and a spreadsheet which details what the common data sources should be. And on the second tab of the spreadsheet, then there's a link to each of those files. So all of the files are contained together on the Google Drive, which I hope you've all seen and looked around at this stage. So we hope that it's as clear as it can be. There's a lot of documentation and there's a lot of sort of actions, but I hope that it just makes sense and things cross-reference as well as they should do. So everything, like I say, everything is filterable on the spreadsheet, so you can decide to just have a look, for example, at everything to do with the passport. You just filter out all the tasks for passport and go through those and figure out where all of the documentation is. Or you can just start with the communication things and go from the top. It's any feedback on the master to-do spreadsheet, you're very welcome. We've been through this with the pilots already, and so we have amended it and tweaked it and added more detail where we felt it was missing. But it's without you actually going through it in detail, it's kind of hard to give you much more than an overview. But I am here for any questions, and if it doesn't make sense to anybody how it's set out, then please just come back and ask. But it's as intuitive as it could possibly be, I hope. So.
Yeah, and I think that's important. This is really the main file that we have. So please do not try to not make any amendments to the text that is in there. In the end, you see also a column where you can detail for your hub if you have done the task or not. If it's been completed, you can use that to filter. But try not to change any of the cross references because the links are there. Maybe some other things I would like to. Oh, Steph. Okay, good, cool. If you were wondering, by the way, if Stephanie was in a hub, that was not a noise from a hub in the background. That was her 1-year-old son, John, who is always there creating a good mood whenever we have a call. Very
Yeah,
energetic.
he's waiting for his breakfast, so he's not so patient without food in his belly.
Maybe then one thing I would like to do before we can go to the Q&A session is to briefly say sort of what are the essentials. This goes just into your question. So we are implementing 4 components in this first phase. The first thing is the aligned product offering. So this is what I refer to at first. It means that from now on, we will have a membership as a basis, and on top, you will buy different products. So this is something that we feel we've implemented now Zurich here. It's very intuitive. People understand it and like it. So this is something that, for example, you will have to change on your website. At some point, it is the idea, of course, as well, that you change your invoicing system. In Zurich, what we've done now until the end of the year, we've changed it on the website in the communication, and all new members are onboarded this way. But we have not completely changed the product structure in our invoicing system yet, because it's a bit too complicated now with the accounting till the end of the year, changing products, etc. So what we have done is, in the invoice that member gets, we've changed the text, the description, so that they have the experience that it changed. But we have a bit more time, right? So you can look for ways around that might work in your hub. So that's for the first component, the product offering. It is about you implementing the same structure, that there's a membership, an Impact Hub membership at the basis, and on top, different products. You do not have to align the pricing of anything. This depends on what you offer in your hub. The only thing that you will align is that there is a minimum valid membership experience that we offer as part of the Impact Hub membership experience. These are 7 or 8 different points, and you can see that in the list. And this is something you will have to offer your members. So this goes around, like, there's a personal onboarding there. There are certain types of events there. It is possible for people to come to your space for a meeting, etc. You'll see the points, but that's sort of what you have to offer in the first one. The second thing is the product narrative. So this is about how we speak about the membership, and this is also what I said before, the change in narrative, that people are now Impact Hub members and not Impact Hub Zurich members. So that's the main thing. There's some more details there around how we describe the membership, how to create value and stuff, but the main thing is Impact Hub membership. Third point is what we call the offline experience. And the offline experience has 3 different parts to it. The first part is events. So what we feel is, to offer members the experience they want, we need to give them a one event per month, which is around inspire, one connect, and one enable event. And then we say there needs to be some kind of a local weekly event. We have sourced from the network what we feel are the best practices for each of these event categories, and we would really recommend and like you to also take the same events, to start organizing them. This is with the same branding, etc. This is, however, not mandatory. If you have events running in your local hub that really work well, what you can do, and this is the mandatory part that all of us have to start doing, is that we will start actually labeling events. So it is necessary that each of your hubs also offers an Inspire, Connect, and Enable event. If this has a different title, you just need to make sure that on the poster you use #Connect, so that if a member starts traveling, that they actually see, aha, this is the Connect event in Kuala Lumpur, or this is the one in Stockholm. Again, it's not important that tomorrow you have all these 3 events, etc. I know, for example, Rotterdam, with the capacity you guys have currently, it's going to be tough to change this, but down the line, this is where we need to go. So you can give yourself a bit of time to actually go there. The only thing that we would want, there is one global event, which is the mashup, which we will be doing. It will be on November 26th, that all the pilot hubs are doing it. It would be great to have as many co-pilots joining there as possible. The event description and stuff, it's all in the toolbox. But if you could also do it on the 26th at the same time, this will be one of our first real global events happening in multiple places. It's around inspiration, storytelling, and I think it serves really well for us to give our members more of a global feeling. But look into that one. The second thing is the onboarding. that we've changed a little bit. So how are members actually taken on into the hub? It's pretty straightforward. An important part of it is that there is some kind of a personal touch point between a potential member and your hub. So they're introduced. We Cornerstone is so-called welcoming sessions that we feel really work really well. Can look into there. The third thing is hosting. Hosting is something we will add to later. We didn't have enough time. I think most of our hubs are anyway quite good in this, but this is where we will improve now for the next phase of the launch. And then the fourth thing, just for passport traveling. This has two parts to it, and that's quite important. So members, the basic membership, in there, no co-working time is included. So for most people, the membership was what Connect was before, and we say there's no co-working time included. What the passport does for these members is that when you go to a hub, when you have a membership, you can go there for a so-called coffee meeting. So you can, as if you would say, hey, I'm meeting somebody in Starbucks or so, you could now do that in a local hub. So you could meet a member in your home hub, if we're talking about a Zurich member. But if a Zurich member is traveling to Munich and looking for a place to meet, he or she does not have to go to a Starbucks and say, hey, let's just meet in the Impact Hub. And not for co-working, but for meeting. So we say access to coffee meeting space is what we call it. And we feel this is really important, again, to give people the sense of the international network. But then as well, it's a huge business opportunity, because if traveling members will actually bring new contacts into your hub, these are potential local members for you that you can upsell to. So it's a big opportunity. We've now had this a couple of times happening here in Zurich, and it's given us 2 or 3 new members just in the last weeks, which is really cool. So that's for the membership. And then we have the so-called co-working packages. So people who decide on top of the membership to buy 1 day a week, 2 days a week, etc. From now on, they can use their co-working time in any hub that is part of the pilot project. So the only thing that you have to do as a member is when you go to a new hub that is not your home hub, that you check in with the host. And there is actually a very simple Google form that the host will have to fill out, where we track how many days and half days people actually go to another hub. We don't track hours, we track half days and days. And for members, except for that, it's a seamless experience. So they suddenly, instead of having 2,000 square meters of space, they now have 10,000 or even more that they can actually use. So we feel this is not something a lot of members will use, but it's something a lot of members actually like. They say, oh, that's a cool thing. And what this means is, for the phase till the end of the year, we will track movement. So we will see where the people go, and we will start use this data that we gather now from the tracking to develop a payment mechanism. Because in 2016, there will be a mechanism where we pay for travel members. So the sending hub will pay something to the receiving hub. There will be probably a quarterly clearing of all the traveling that we will do automatically. But until we know what is the best way to pay, there will not be any payment. So what this could mean, for example, is that Stockholm, you receive 4 or 5 members who will work like a total of 10 days in your hub. It might be that for this period till the end of the year, you will not be remunerated, but in the future, you will be. So that's something. And for members, well, the final thing is that we say is, if you, on a regular basis, use more than 50% of your time in another hub, so you spend actually most time in another place, we ask you to relocate to that place. But this is more something that that in dialogue with members will happen. Yeah. I think that's sort of to all of the components. Then I would say I would like to go actually to the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, go ahead, put them in here. I saw that Molly just joined us, which is really cool. Hi, Molly. Maybe
Hi.
you could ask your questions first.
So you said Central European time, not summertime. So I was all prepped for. And anyway, sorry, I got it wrong 1 hour. But hi.
Okay. Hi.
I forgot you guys had summers over there.
Well, we don't really if you look outside, but we at least keep the illusion of summer up. But that's a topic for another call. So
Yeah.
you put two questions in there. Let's just go through them briefly.
So the first was about the pricing. It was just to confirm that essentially we now subtract the Connect price from the package and then charge them the Connect price plus the remainder, as it were. So they're still paying the same, but it's packaged instead as like you're a hub member and now you're paying for all this stuff on top. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a summary. Yeah. And of course, if you change this in your local hub, might be an opportunity for you to change prices if you want to, right? In Zurich, open for 4 years, and we never increased the prices. So we use this also as an opportunity to increase prices by a couple of percentage points because we find it fair. The network is a lot bigger. We're delivering more value. But this is something you don't have to do. You can just keep it the same. Yeah.
Yeah. The other question was about where people were allowed to go, which you've also answered in terms of only to other co-pilots. We were just wondering how quickly that might change in practice, because I think quite a lot of our members are like interested in traveling to other Asian hubs per se, but might not necessarily be in Stockholm.
Yeah, so I think somewhere in 2016 this will change. We will do another outreach campaign to see if we can get another wave of hubs coming on board. Membership, and Singapore, for example, and Manila are on that list that they might be interested. So I would say somewhere in 2016.
Okay. That was that. That was my questions.
Okay. Are there any other questions from you guys?
Yeah, I have one on pricing again. Sorry.
Sure.
Have you looked into sort of have this Impact Hub membership costs locally in versus globally? You know, so that we align our membership price in some kind of a Big Mac index or something like that. Have you looked into that, or is it like locally you can choose whatever price you want, or you know? You understand the question?
Yeah, I understand your question. It's whether the value we create, if it's aligned, should lead to the same price locally, maybe adapted to like the Big Mac index or some purchasing power changes. We've looked into that a little bit, but it's quite a beast. And what we found is that there are such high differences between hubs and how they run their hubs. Some work more with volunteers and member hosts. Others, they have a professional hosting team, a very expensive space, non-expensive. So we felt that we don't want to touch that right now. The difference are like 10 to 20% or so if you look at the purchasing power. So we say, let's not touch on that now. Maybe in a later phase we will look into that. But you can keep your local reality that you've built your business model on. Cool. Any other questions? Around?
Yeah. I'm figuring out right now in my head, we always offer a free trial day, right? Every one of us does, right? So actually, I had this feeling that, you know, everyone in the whole network, but also non-members, have the right to spend 1 day co-working anywhere they want. So how does that principle relate to this global membership? How do you think? How do you manage that?
Yeah. So first of all, it's not something all hubs offer. It's sort of a gentleman's agreement that a lot of hubs that are informed in the communications actually offer. We will say down the line, a good way to attract members, new members, is to offer a free trial day. So this is something we do in Zurich. A lot of hubs actually do. It makes business sense to start doing it. It won't be the case anymore that if you're an Impact Hub member, whenever you go to another hub that is not your home hub, you have the right to co-work there for a day for free, because we say, you know, as a member, generally there's no co-working included, so it doesn't make sense to offer them co-working if it's not what they're paying for. So this is something that will change next year. Yeah. Thank you, Amelie. Other questions?
We have one question, like on the passport implementation, it's just this one sheet. And how is there some implementation of maybe a mail address or something where we get news in our account when somebody from, I don't know, Zurich, for example, before he's actually coming to Munich, fills out the thing and we get all the information.
So do they check in before, or do they just check in at the local hub search and you kind of expect how many people are coming this day?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So there's one thing I didn't mention. For a member who wants to travel, there is an optional step that he goes to passport.impacthub.net. You can check it out. It's a small microsite. And a member can fill this out before they go, saying, hey, I'm John from Stockholm. I'd like to go to Munich for 2 days next week. And you will get this information in advance. Like the moment he fills it out, you will get this information. What they can also choose to say is like, hey, I'm working on this and that. Is there a possibility for me to meet local members? So that's an opportunity for you as a host when you get this information to maybe try to connect him or her to somebody to see if we can start to get collaboration between members actually happening. But this is an optional step. The only thing that is mandatory is then when they get there, that they will tell the host so that the form is filled in how much time they actually spent there. What we will start doing, of course, as well, this will give us data tracking, okay, how many members say they're going and then end up in the end going. This is all things that will help us to determine the right price point. The link to the form is in the master sheet, and the other information will be sent to you directly when somebody fills it out in advance.
Okay, and the passport thing is like online from now on?
Yep, it's online. Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah. And, sorry, maybe also another thing that is important here is that if you have somebody visiting who is from a hub that is not part of the pilot, so the Copilot, please still ask your hosts to fill this in so that we can also just track it, right? It is up to you how you deal with people who are not part of the pilot. Like what we do in Zurich is we let them use it. That's not a problem for us. It's cool to have them here. Usually they add more value than they actually extract. So that's. But if you say now we can only accept pilot hubs, you can. That's something you do. But please, if they come, please track it. Other questions? I see people nodding their heads. I mean, if something pops up later, you can always ask it in the Slack channel. There, I would like to say something. We have, if for some of you know Slack, there is the opportunity to ask direct questions, and then there are these channels that people can actually see. There is a general channel that everybody actually hears. If you have questions specifically related to the passport or the offline experience or the narrative offering, you can see that Stephanie created specific channels for those. So please join those channels if you have questions around them. The general, try to use it for things that really actually matter to everybody. We also created a channel called Feedback. So if you get any feedback from a member, an anecdote or a tweet or something, it would be really cool if you could share it here. We're making a storybook of different kinds of feedback, just so that we have we have this data as well. So that's something that we would like to ask from you.
So I have another question, Neil. Sorry.
Sure,
on the global passport that we have already. So right now, as I understand it anyway, we offer, I can't remember exactly what it was, but in your membership, 1 day or 2 days, whatever, is included in the membership globally. And then you can buy a local package. This was voted on years ago, and that should have been implemented in all the hubs. How, are that ongoing still, or I can't remember what we actually said that.
This is something a hub dinosaur like yourself remembers, but I think most people here don't know that this exists, and that's a problem. It's never really been implemented.
Thank you for that. That is good. Right?
I'm just sharing your age here, just indirectly. No,
We have it on our website, and I'm not that old in the network.
yeah, we did some research on that, and I think Stockholm is one of the 2 or 3 hubs that actually offer this, who are diligent enough to implement it. So I would recommend you to change it to the new model, because this is the future that a lot of people are actually behind.
Right, so we're not communicating that. I mean, I haven't heard anything about that from your side of communicating that we are stopping that, and this is how we go forward. So we're just going to forget about it and go this way. That's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. Cool. Thanks. All right. Let me see. Are there any other questions right now? Looking through your screens. I think people nodding ahead.
Niels, do you want to maybe, you mentioned, you talked about each of the components, but do you want to maybe give a brief overview of the sort of communication campaign that overlays the implementation of those components? That might be helpful.
Thank you, Steph. Yeah, that's a good point. So it's also in the toolbox, but what is, of course, the first thing that you'll do is locally try to implement the changes, but then you communicate it to your members. And what we've created is sort of there is a blog on the global website that explains the story of the pilot. And then what we've created are like a local version of the blog that you can use. We've created a template for member mail that you can send out. And this is sort of your first wave of communications to your members, whether you do this week or next week, depends on you and your rhythm. But then as well, what we will do over the next weeks till the end of the year is that we will highlight some of these components in separate small waves of communication. So for example, around the passport, Jesper, in 2 weeks or so, we will have like some social media posts and another blog post ready that you can actually use to inform your member about the changes there, or around the events just before the mashup is happening, etc. So this is sort of the communication campaign that we are setting up right now till the end of the year, just to make sure. The main focus of the campaign is on your existing members, but it will be something that will help you to attract new ones as well. Cool. All right. Then I would say I'm going to close the call right here with just a bit of an outlook. And then any other questions you have, let's use Slack for that. I say very, very excited to see so many of you joining. I have been with Hub Network now for 5 years, and my feeling has been that we have been very much a network of locally anchored communities. And if we really want to change something in the world at a massive scale that it matters, we need to become a global community, a global movement. And I feel that this membership is going to be a first very big step in that direction. So yeah, since we've been working on it, you know, my energy level has been rising for me, myself, the other pilots. So I would say thank you very much for stepping on board. You're paving the way for the rest of the network. Whatever you get from us now, the material, it's not perfect. So share your feedback. We keep improving it. You're helping that, you know, in a couple of years, we will have 200 places around the world, but we will have one movement with over 100,000 members who will really change that we have a world that will really work for all. So I say thank you very much for coming on board. It was a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, looking forward to communicate further per Slack. And I would say goodbye. You can unmute and say goodbye right now.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Niels.
Niels.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Have a good day.
Bye. Nice to meet
Bye.
you.